What's up, Vinyl Community? It's your boy Chris coming at you live from my Jeep Cherokee. Another road trip going on today. Pretty brief one, all things considered, by my standards. Riding solo today. My boy Josh is celebrating his anniversary with his wife for the week, and they're no doubt having a blast. So I'll be doing this one solo. I live in upstate South Carolina, towards basically the center of the state. And my buddy I'm meeting today lives in the western part of upstate South Carolina. So we're gonna meet in the middle today, probably about an hour. Bought a bunch of stuff off of him a while back, and then a few more last night. But to be honest with you, it's been so long since I bought the records that I bought from him, aside from the ones last night, that I really can't remember what it is I bought. That happens with me a lot. So we might, be in for some surprises together today. But I'll come at you guys here shortly with some new tunes from your boy Tunes from this Jeep Cherokee. I hope everybody's having a wonderful weekend. I'll talk to you guys soon. All right, Vinyl Community. So bringing it back to the man cave here today is my get-together in this town. Ended up in a Walmart parking lot, as only a small town in western South Carolina could possibly meet up. It's like, I don't know much about this town. Do you know much about this town? No, but it's in the middle of us somewhere. Well, they got a Walmart. Let's meet up there. Pretty sure every town in South Carolina pretty much has a Walmart, but we met up at one. So anyway, without further ado, I'll come to you guys with my scores for the night. It's after midnight here in the man cave. To any of you who might be Atlanta Braves fans, congratulations to you guys. As a South Carolina boy born and raised, I grew up in a family filled with Atlanta Braves fans. I decided to be a New York Yankees fan, have been my entire life, but I always hope the best for the Braves and their fans, obviously, because I like to see my family members, happy too, as long as it's not at our expense. So congratulations to the Atlanta Braves and their fan base. And if you are a Houston Astros fan, you might want to tune out, because I hope you cheaters get your asses kicked. Anyway, that's out of the way. Anybody from Houston's going to hate me. Anyway, cheers. It's okay. It's not your fans' fault. You guys didn't cheat. Your team did. Anyway, first up, Japanese pressing of Benny Green's Walking and Talking. Clean copy. Super clean copy, obviously. This would be expected because it's Japanese press. It's money, splat out. Some Benny Green on trombone, Eddie Williams on tenor, Gilda Mahomes on piano, George Tucker on bass, and Al Dreers on sticks. It is a phenomenal session, absolute fire of a record. Very happy to have it. Obviously, OGs are always preferable, but guys, as I've tried to advocate on numerous different scenarios on my channel during my few years in the YouTube vinyl community, just get a great pressing. Get a great pressing. Get yourself a Japanese press or a DMM or Music Matters, and a few of those coming up actually. Next up, Dimensions and Extensions, Sam Rivers. I love Sam Rivers. Sam Rivers is great stuff, guys. And this is a promo copy right here. Promo copy. Obviously, I wish it was an OG. It's not, and that's fine. Again, what I was just talking about. It's a DMM, Direct Metal Master. But happy to have a copy of the album. Sam Rivers, of course, on tenor, soprano, sax, and flute. James Spalding on alto, sax, and flute. The great Donald Byrd on trumpet. Julian Priester on trombone. Cecil McBee on bass. And Steve Ellington on the sticks. Phenomenal album. Next up, artist that I just love, doesn't get enough shine in my opinion, but I just personally just love this artist. Horace Parlan, Moving and Grooving. as you guys can see, is the acoustic, the pressing. It's mastered, of course, by acoustic by Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman. So those of you here who are the analog guys, the audiophile guys, you no doubt know those two names. Steve Hoffman, of course, you have Steve Hoffman Foreman. Kevin Gray, of course, is behind all of these Tone Poet and classic series reissues and everything that are doing so well and sounding so great right now. So phenomenal stuff. Horace Parlan on piano, Sam Jones on bass, and Al Harewood on drums. Beautiful piano trio record, 2 LP, 45 RPM. I will admit, guys, I'll be the first one to admit that 45 RPM is never my preference for full LPs because it's just too much damn flipping. Honestly, because I'm the kind of guy who, if I'm listening to records, I'm not just sitting there listening to records. I'm cleaning, I'm reorganizing, I'm filing on Discogs. I'm doing something. I'm not really the kind of guy who just sits back and has a drink and just chills. I might shock some of you, but some of you who've listened to me long enough probably doesn't shock you. I'm a pretty hyper guy. But thrilled to have that one. Next up, another one, absolutely thrilled to have. This is going to be another scenario where you're going to have a 2 LP, 45 RPM. But once again, mastered by Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman. It's Music Matters 45 RPM series, Starbright by Dizzy Reese. Thrilled to have it. And of course, the lineup on this one, hard to fuck with. Dizzy Reese on trumpet, Hank Mobley on tenor, Wynton Kelly on keys, Paul Chambers on bass, and Art Taylor on sticks. Guys, that is a lineup for that ass. Thrilled to have this one. It's one of those ones, because of what I've acquired in my life and what I've acquired just this year, and one that I've got coming up for you guys, stay tuned. I never rule out owning any OG. I just don't. Under the right set of circumstances, they're all obtainable to me. Under the right set of circumstances. But this one's as close to ruled out as I could get without ruling it out, if that makes sense. But Starbright, Dizzy Reese, thrilled to have it. Next up, Walter Davis Jr. Davis Cup. Once again, another 45 RPM. Once again, acoustic mastering. Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman again. Thrilled to have this one. Another one I've always wanted an OG of course. Walter Davis Jr. with Donald Byrd, Jackie McLean, Sam Jones, and Art Taylor. Stereo press. It's phenomenal, obviously. And again, the original is always the long-term goal, but anytime you can get an audiophile pressing by greats like Kevin Gray and Steve Hoffman to have in your collection to put it on your shelves, it's never a bad thing, guys. Never be ashamed to go that route. Next up. Hubcap, Freddie Hubbard. Once again, 2 LP, 45 RPM treatment, acoustic, same deal. My boy Corey that I met today in Western South Carolina cut me a great deal on all these pressings, because guys, these pressings go for some pretty decent Skrilla these days. But Julian Priester, Jimmy Heath, Cedar Walton, Larry Ridley, and Philly Joe Jones on the record. Freddie Hubbard, top 5 probably all time on his respective instrument, the trumpet for me. I love him. Great stuff. Can never go wrong. And love this album, obviously. Thrilled to add any copy to my collection. Now we're going to get to some originals and some earlier pressings. As you guys know, that's usually how I wag and wheel. It's not so much in the order of how great I think the album is, but the pressings also play a factor, if you will. First up, Lee Morgan, Caramba. It's a beautiful lady on the front of the cover, but one of the more basic album covers of the great Lee Morgan's output on Blue Note. Lee Morgan, Benny Maupin, Cedar Walton, Reginald Workman, and Billy Higgins. It's Lee Morgan, so it's always fire. Splatter, OG stereo. Phenomenal stuff. I'm thrilled to have the album. It's one of the ones that, a lot of these, he and I worked out this deal a long time ago. And I had actually forgotten that I got most of these, and this is one of the ones that I had indeed forgotten that I had gotten. Thrilled to have it now. Anything by Lee Morgan. Anything. Next up, the Great Wayne Shorter. It's one I've actually coveted for quite some time now. The Great Wayne Shorter, Schizophrenia. Phenomenal record. It's one of those great old-fashioned blue label black bee treatment here. Curtis Fuller, James Spaulding, Herbie Hancock, Ron Carter, and Joe Chambers. Somebody had made the comment on one of my videos here recently that it seemed like I was trying to get every session Ron Carter ever played on. Not deliberately, but it was a great observation, because on the comment on the video, I went back and looked at the video. I'm like, huh. Went back and it was like 7 of the records had like Ron Carter on them. Not deliberately, just happened. When you're as great at what you do as the legendary and still with us Ron Carter is, you tend to pop up on a lot of awesome sessions. So this one, of course, being no exception. Wayne Shorter, Schizophrenia. Next up, one that I've actually wanted for a while, pretty stoked. He just gave me the opportunity to nab this one last night, actually. The night right before the deal. So very stoked about it. Is Red Garland at the Prelude. Man, right here with this one, you're talking about Splat Owl, Bergenfield, New Jersey, Prestige Firework labels, yellow and black. Beautiful record, nice looking copy. Red Garland on piano, Jimmy Rouser on bass, Specs White on sticks. This Red Garland piano trio jazz record. Guys, I am truly thrilled, really, truly thrilled to add this one to my collection. I love Red Garland. Love Red Garland, and I just have some time, guys, especially a lot of nights like this, late at night, where I just love my piano jazz. I just do the piano trio stuff. It's just great, comes in clutch. It's great for any time of the day, but I really love it early in the morning, and I really love it late at night. So, can't beat it. I am thrilled to add this one to my collection. Corey, thank you, my bud, for offering this one up to me last night. Right before our meetup. I was very, very thrilled at that opportunity for a great price too, man. Great price. Next up, one that upgrade. My boy Ed, I believe. Ed, if you comment, if you see the video, correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you got my reissue of this one. I had gotten, it goes all the way back to the early videos of my channel, but I had gotten an OG stereo of this album. Vinyl, immaculate condition, but the cover had water damage. And for those of you who've been watching the channel from the beginning, which I don't think there's anybody left that's been watching from the beginning. People have come and gone over the 3 or 4 years that I've been on. But some of you might remember. It's possible. Maybe you went back and got bored one night and thought to yourself you'd bore yourself with a hairy, bearded Southern guy on a Saturday night or some shit. But Jackie McLean, New and Old Gospel. And this cover, as you guys can tell, is clean. And the record is also clean. Flat out. And I love it. It's a wonderful record. This is Jackie McLean on alto, Ornette Coleman on trumpet, Lamont Johnson, on piano, Scott Holt on bass, and Billy Higgins on the sticks. Once again, I love this record. It's great. Original stereo pressing. Next up, quite possibly the one I'm most excited about in the whole stack. I don't know if I'll go as far as to call it the most major grab in the whole stack, but it might be the one I'm personally most excited for. Is Don Wilkerson, Preach Brother. OG Mono. Yeah. New York, USA label, Splat Owl. Bitch is clean. I'm loving it already. Don Wilkerson on tenor, Grant Green on guitar, Sonny Clark on piano, Butch Warren on bass, and Billy Higgins on sticks. Guys, you can't fuck with that. This is an amazing record. A phenomenal album. I love Don Wilkerson. A lot of you guys watching aren't going to be as familiar with Don Wilkerson, but I have to admit, and I just got to tell you, just leave it at this. Stream it. Look it up. Buy a damn CD. I don't care. Buy a reissue. Get this shit into your life. This is good jazz music in that lineup once again. Don Wilkerson, Grant Green, Sonny Clark, Butch Warren, and Billy Higgins, guys. Shit's lit. Next up, 1963 mono. Non-deep groove, unfortunately. So I believe it makes it the second mono, if I'm not mistaken. Anybody who wants to correct me and not be a douche about it, I'd be very appreciative. Out there, Eric Dolphy. Yeah, he sent me the flip through video of this one last night. I fronted it up and I damn near shit myself. Obviously, the first is definitely the long-term goal. But guys, it's just non-deep groove. Other than that, I mean, on New Jazz, splat out anytime you can get that gorgeous purple label on New Jazz. It's an absolutely beautiful record. Eric Dolphy on alto sax, flute, BB and bass clarinets, and Ron Carter on cello, George DeVivier on bass, and Roy Haynes on the sticks. Again, 1963 mono, non-deep groove. I believe that makes the second mono pressing. I love Eric Dolphy. If you go all the way back through my videos, somewhere along the line you'll find one that I did directly for Eric Dolphy. Not very many people watched it, and that's fine. I don't care. That's not why I did it. But man, phenomenal, phenomenal. And that brings me all the way down to one more, one last one, which probably the rarest grab in the stack. Unfortunately, the condition's not great on it. The wax is cleaner than the cover is. No worries on it. It is grail status anyway. You can own an original copy of this, I guess. But as I'm getting ready to show you guys, unfortunately, there's some tape. There's some wear and tear on the cover. You can tell there's a spot where somebody attempted to tear off some tape and all of that, but it's intact. And it's a grail, honestly, and I would never, probably ever could own this album any cheaper, honestly. But Whims of Chambers, Paul Chambers Sextet, Blue Note 1534. Tape here. It's a fucking black tape. It's not even, they didn't even have the decency to do fucking clear tape. And then up through here you can tell was somewhere where you could tell where some tape was maybe on, and then maybe they had attempted to take it off and failed. But again, cover is intact. Yeah, for the most part. Too bad they didn't have Seems Easy strips way back when whoever did this. But it's Whims of Chambers, Paul Chambers Sextet, Donald Byrd trumpet, John Coltrane tenor, Kenny Burrell guitar, Horace Silver on piano, Paul Chambers on bass, and Philly Joe Jones on sticks. Dear God. That's a lineup. So, when he offered it to me, and again, you know, I knew about the condition of the cover going in. I knew the cover was pretty beat. It's intact, but it's pretty beat. I knew that. But it is original mono of one hell of a lineup. The wax has seen better days, but it's a solid player. It's got the year. You know, it's got, you know, the Lexington Ave, New York City address. Splat out. And, hey, I may never get another shot at an OG copy of this bad boy. So just to have one that'll play through relatively solidly, even if the cover's beat. I mean, hey, I still, again, he gave me one hell of a deal on it. I won't disclose how much it was for because, you know, it's a deal between, you know, myself and a friend, you know, involving finances. But Paul Chambers, Whims of Chambers. So anyway, that's it for the day. One hell of a day for me. Above and beyond all else, Corey, I know you watch some of my videos, buddy. If you're watching this, cheers to you. Thank you for being an awesome friend. You cut me a hell of a deal on these. You took a part out of your Saturday to meet me in a fucking Walmart parking lot like we were doing some sketchy ass drug deal in the daylight. And you hooked me up with some killers at great prices, buddy, from your personal collection. So I know they're good. I know they've been taken care of. That's all I need to know. Cheers to you, my friend. You had brought up the possibility of getting together here at Noble here soon for maybe a dig and a beer, and I am going to take you up on that. First round's on me, my buddy. You are the man. I appreciate you. To everybody else watching, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Until next time, until next video. Keep dropping that needle, you guys.